Government is only looking out for big business. Cancel their Netflix subscription. They can afford the ridiculous price hikes. But Netflix subscription is £10 a month. If things aren't capped, people will start to take to the streets. That we shouldn't ask for a pay rise. Hey guys, so today's video I want to talk about the current crisis. It's going on in the UK, but I know it's going on elsewhere as well, but because I live in the UK, I can only kind of speak from my experience here. So at the moment in the UK, there is an energy crisis. People's energy bills and fuel costs, they've gone through the roof, and it's going to get worse and worse and worse. Because in a lot of people's opinions, including mine, the current government is only looking out for big business, for the big energy companies that are hiking up the prices, rather than, say for instance, I believe it's France, government has put a cap on energy bills, and this is to ensure that people aren't literally starving to death in their homes because they have to pay their bills. And that has happened. We live in one of the richest countries in the world, and more and more and more people in this country are finding themselves in poverty. And the government say that they understand that they're going to do things to help these people. But it's hard to believe conservatives, especially, I'm not saying Labour are perfect in any way, shape or form, but it's extremely hard to believe people who earn £80,000 to £100,000 a year have a second job to ensure that they're earning literally millions, and they're complaining that they're going to struggle to afford their luxuries when the people they are meant to work for, they can't even afford the basic amenities of life. I saw a very disturbing video of, I always call them Bankerwankers, people that work in the city, and don't get me wrong, I work in the city, but I don't think of people in the way that these people do. But these people who earn hundreds of thousands of pounds a year, they say that people who are struggling to pay their energy bills or fill up their car so they can actually go to work, that they should cancel their Netflix subscription or any kind of TV subscriptions, anything that, you know, gives them some joy in life so that they can afford the ridiculous price hikes.
Is there anything you think people who are feeling the pinch, do you think there's anything they could be doing to
well, it does make me laugh when people do feel the pinch, but they've got Sky TV, they smoke, they drink, you know, I don't mind everyone having a drink or whatever, but Sky...
Cancel Netflix, cancel your subscriptions. Actually, I just put an offer in for a flat, but I've been working for a couple of years.
Congratulations.
So that's how I saved. But my mom has paid, I'd say 60% of my deposit. Okay. 60% of my deposit.
Okay.
Now, even if you were to say, when I was a kid, I only had channel 1 to 5, and I was that kid for a really long time. But Netflix subscription is £10 a month. Energy bills are going up hundreds of pounds a month. That math does not add up. People literally trying to put the blame on minimum wage workers are part of the problem. I don't like talking about money most of the time, but I'm scared that I will lose my job any day. Not because I've done anything wrong, but because a lot of companies in the UK are consistently moving work abroad and making workforce in the UK redundant. It's something I've had to be terrified of every single year I've worked in the city. As the sole earner, because I live alone, it's terrifying. Especially because I've had to be the sole earner before. When I was about 18, 19, my mum got made redundant. Her job gave her, like, I think it was a couple of months, if that, pay. I'm not even sure if they gave her that much. The gas, electric, council tax, water, every bill for that house I paid for on my minimum wage. And because of that, we had to go to Tesco's, which is our local supermarket. We had to buy Tesco Value. It was Tesco Value or it was reduced to clear, because it was all we could afford on what was left of my salary. I actually had a member of staff who I worked with turn around to me and say that they didn't think I deserved the £3,000 London waiting because I didn't live in London, even though my train ticket to work was over £3,000 a year. More than what I got went towards travel. And I said to her that personally I didn't understand why she got London waiting when she didn't pay anything for travel because she literally lived around the corner. So it's sad that both people who I imagine we probably had exactly the same starting salaries were pitted against each other. And I feel like that's similarly how some people are going about this current crisis. Because this one person earns £5,000 more than this person. And it's almost like these two people are fighting against each other when everyone who earns below £50,000 a year, every single person is going to struggle. Every single person is going to have to make really tough choices because the government have failed us. That's why I understand why some people are embarrassed to have value ranges in their shopping cart, because trust me, I was terrified that someone who I knew was going to see that I couldn't afford anything but Tesco value and reduced to clear. Literally every single item in our trolley, I remember it vividly, was Tesco value reduced to clear. This is before self-checkout as well, so we were embarrassed when the person was scanning the food, when you should never be ashamed of what you can afford because of the crisis you've been forced into. If things aren't capped, people will start to take to the streets. I guarantee you. This country, all of the people who live here, that aren't millionaires anyway, all of us are sick to death of people saying that it's our fault, that we shouldn't ask for a pay rise, even though no one in this country has had barely any pay rise for over 3 years, even though companies are raking in profits. So the cost of living goes up hundreds of pounds every year, but our salaries don't ever match that. The tax band doesn't even match that. The tax bands have been in place for years, and I'm not saying someone with 50,000 is at the same level as someone who earns minimum wage of 18,000 a year. I'm not saying that. However, if the cost of living consistently goes up, should the tax bands also not move every 10 years? They've been stuck at the same level for years. Someone who would have earned £30,000 10, 20 years ago now has to earn a minimum £40,000 to £50,000 a year just to keep up with inflation. Things have to change. Government need a wake-up call. If you're interested, there is a campaign that Mike Lynch has discussed called Enough is Enough.
People are fed up with the way they're treated at work. We need to turn that mood into real organisation on behalf of the working class.
Enough is enough.
There's always another crisis, and it's always workers who pay the price. We've suffered the biggest pay squeeze in history, and workers become all about working harder and faster for less. And now they want you to pay for it all again. Well, it's time somebody else paid the price.
Things can't go on like this.
Record profits for big business, record number of billionaires, record wealth for the top 10%. But life is getting harder for everyone else.
You always make the sacrifices, yet they always reap the rewards. None of this is inevitable.
It's a political choice, your need or their greed.
I will link it below. I can only foresee two things happening. People currently having to work to survive. Either people are going to start dying because people can't afford to eat and they have to pay their ridiculously high energy bills or pay for the petrol in their cars, or people will have enough and, like I said, they will take to the streets and there will be strike upon strike upon strike of workforces, of all workforces, because this country, the people who are not millionaires, the people who are on less than, especially less than 20 to 30,000 a year, those are the people that are at risk. Pensioners especially are at risk. I mean, Government has already shown they don't even care about kids. They don't care about making sure that they can even eat. They don't care about us. They haven't shown for a single second that they care about us. And politicians are meant to work for the people, not these big corporations that they consistently cut their tax for. I'm truly sorry that people are going through this. We're on the brink of recession, and it'll be the second one I've lived through. And they are some of the toughest times the last 30 years that this country's had to go through, bar COVID, obviously. Take care of yourself, guys, and take care of each other in crisis like this.